Yo, 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 it's your boy Jay Best, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, season 2, episode 9. On today's episode, I will be doing just my NFL tiers through the first 6 weeks of the season, and then I'm going to do my week 7 picks. All right, that's all I'm going to do for today's episode. It's going to be very short and sweet. All right, but as always, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning and allowing me to talk about sports, which is something that I love to do, and without Him, I would not be here right now. Where have I been the past couple of weeks, right? I remember the first week that I missed. I fell under the weather for the first episode in the week, and then Logan hasn't been available the past couple of weeks because him and his family is going through something right now. So he hasn't had time to be on the podcast. And look, family comes first. All right, so I haven't been tripping about it. I kind of felt bad not doing the episode without him. So I kind of kept pushing back and kept saying, okay, I'm gonna do it. But then at last second, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do it without him. But I do got to come out here and I got to give y'all some content. All right, but Logan, you're in my prayers. Now, please keep him in y'all prayers. All right, whenever you're ready to come back, my arms are wide open and I'll be waiting for you. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get straight to the point. Today's episode is going to be very short and very sweet. All right, all I'm going to do is give y'all my tiers through 6 weeks. All right, so for my tiers, all I'm going to do is basically tell y'all where every team stands through the first 6 weeks of the year. All right, the first 6 weeks have gone by very, very fast, and this is, like I said, basically a report card for the first 6 weeks of the season. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all the tier name, and then I'm gonna tell y'all the teams that fall under that tier, and I'm going from bottom to top. So these, of course, the worst teams, and I'm gonna go up to the best teams. All right. So the first tier that I have is the tier what we expected. Okay, the Panthers and the Cardinals. There are two teams that we did not have high expectations for going into the season. We knew the Cardinals would be probably the worst team in the league, but come to find out, it's the Panthers. All right, the Panthers are going through a young QB, rookie quarterback, right? That doesn't have much around him. He's doing everything he can with Adam Thielen, maximizing his talents. And Adam Thielen playing pretty good, but he's not a number one receiver that you can win with. All right, but then other than that, he doesn't have much. Defense is okay, right? You got a couple of good players, Brian Burns, right? Jeremy Chin, Derek Brown. But overall, this team is just not ready to win right now. And it's going to this is the rebuilding process for the Carolina Panthers. Arizona Cardinals just don't have a roster. Period. From top to bottom, they don't have any great players on this team that could equate to winning. All right. So both of these teams are just at the bottom right now. They're trying to get through this season and they're trying to get into next year and they're trying to build and just get better. That's their goal, is to get better through this year and into next year. All right, my next tier, teams looking forward to draft day. All right, so these teams are done. Okay, they're done for the year. They don't get the benefit of the doubt like the Panthers and the Cardinals because we expected them to be bad. Some of these teams we didn't expect to be bad this year. Starting with the Patriots, I didn't think the Patriots would be this bad this year. Right, the Broncos, I thought they would be a little better than last year. You can argue they're at the same place they were last year with Nathaniel Hackett. Getting Sean Payton, you would think that this team would be just a little bit better than what they are right now, but they're not. Russell Wilson looks a little better, but the defense looks way worse, right? Last year, the defense looked great. Russell Wilson looked bad. This year, Russell Wilson looks pretty good or okay, and then the defense looks bad. So you can't do that, right? You can't. That doesn't offset, right? So they're looking bad this year. And then you got the Giants. The Giants, some people thought they would be in the playoffs this year. They went to the playoffs last year under Brian Daboll's first year. He won Coach of the Year, and then this year they just don't look good. Like, you pay Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones comes out and he's playing worse than what he did before you paid him. And I don't think he should have got paid in the first place, right? So that whole organization from top to bottom is not good. And even roster wise, like going into this year, I should have known that they wouldn't be as good because who's his receivers? Right, you can't even name one receiver he has. I mean, they added Darren Waller. I thought that would help a little bit, but when Saquon got hurt, that really exposed Daniel Jones. The O line is nothing to really help Daniel Jones, if that makes sense. Like the O line is looking bad as well, but Daniel Jones has to be able to overcome that. They paid you to overcome some of these obstacles that you clearly can't, right? So I think that Daniel Jones is not the answer, and they're looking forward to 2024 with draft day next year. And the Bears, Justin Fields. I thought that last year he did a good job of proving that he can be the quarterback that they continue to build this organization with. But this year, I think he's about to lose his job. If they get that number one pick next year, I don't think they're going to pass up on Caleb Williams. Simple as that. I think last year they could have got Bryce Young, but they said no. Justin Fields showed that he is our quarterback. This year, he's taking a big step back. I thought that momentum from last year was going to carry into this year. And he wouldn't really win games, but just keep showing us you're a starting quarterback. We're going to keep building this team. They got your number one receiver. Stay patient. We're going to keep building. This year, you're not really showing me nothing as a starting QB. So if they get a number one pick next year, they're not passing up on Caleb Williams. So Justin Fields might have lost his starting job, and the rest of his team is not good either. Then the Vikings, huge shocker. This is a team that honestly I thought would win division because you look at their division, they have a bunch of young teams that's trying to figure it out. Okay, they got the Packers trying to figure it out, right? Aaron Rodgers is gone. Now you got Jordan Love. You also have the Lions. They're young, trying to figure it out. They're good this year, right? But we didn't know they'll be this good. They're still trying to figure it out. Then you had the Bears. Once again, Justin Fields and them trying to figure it out. So the Vikings was the only team that had who I thought was the best quarterback in the division with Kirk Cousins. They have the best player in the division with Justin Jefferson. And the team overall on roster is not terrible. You got Daniil Hunter on defense. You got Byron Murphy at corner, who came from Arizona. You got Alexander Madison, who looked pretty good last year behind Dalvin Cook. And then you add Jordan Addison, a first round pick receiver. And then you add TJ Hawkinson last year. I thought his offense would be able to keep up with teams, but the defense is so bad, and then the offense is turnover prone. All right, so this is another team looking forward to draft day next year. My next tier is um, it's really supposed to be not looking too good. All right, I put at the bottom of the screen. I'll read that right now. This is the tier of not looking too good. Okay, so let me take it off the screen. Not looking too good is the Titans, the Chargers, the Saints, and the Packers. All of these teams, to me, um, they're not putting out product to where I can say they can make the playoffs right at this very moment, right through this first 6 weeks. I still think the Saints can get in the playoffs because I don't think the division is strong enough. I think the Chargers can still compete for a wild card spot, but to me, they don't scare me. The Titans are a team that if Derrick Henry don't have it going, and Ryan Tannehill plays bad, they're going to lose regardless, no matter who they play. Okay, and that's what has been shown through the first couple of weeks. When Derrick Henry has a good game and gets it going, they win games. When he doesn't, they struggle. And when Ryan Tannehill plays bad, they lose games. Defensively, they're not bad. And Mike Vrabel was a great head coach, but offensively, if you don't have a good run game or if your quarterback is throwing the game away, they're just not going to win games. And then the Packers, Jordan Love is very inconsistent. Some plays you say, okay, well, some games you can say, okay, he played behind Aaron Rodgers. In some games, you're like, okay, have you played football at all? You know, that's just how up and down he's been. It's been a roller coaster. It's his first year starting, so you kind of expected that. That's why I didn't really jump on the Jordan Love train after the first 2 weeks. First 2 weeks, he played pretty well, but then since then, he hasn't been that great. So these teams are just not looking too good right now. I think the Saints can turn it around a little bit after what we saw on Thursday night between Derek Carr and his OC having a shouting match, right? And then him also yelling at his players. Right now, that team looks beat internally, right? They can fix that. They can fix their relationships. They can get the offense on the right page. I think they can turn the season around. But until then, they're not going to be looking too good anytime soon. Now we're at the good record, but okay, these teams are at least 3-3, right? But I just don't see them getting to the playoffs. I just don't see these teams actually making noise throughout the rest of this season. I mean, it's starting off pretty good, but I don't think that they have enough to keep this thing going. The Jets, Zach Wilson, all right, he is getting better, no doubt about it. But the games that they have won this year has been because of the defense. I mean, they beat the Bills. Josh Allen had 4 turnovers. They beat Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Jalen Hurts threw 3 interceptions, right? So I think most of their wins coming through defense, which I expected, right? If anything, they proved me right because I said coming into this year they're going to have one of the best defenses in the league. But Zach Wilson can still throw away games, right? We haven't seen him become a great quarterback overnight. He's developing, he's getting better. And Aaron Rodgers talking about coming back. If this team doesn't play better, right, then I think that there's no point in him coming back. But if they can keep this going, then hey, y'all will be just fine. The Colts to me, Anthony Richardson out for the year. You got Gardner Minshew starting now. You have kind of a two-headed monster with Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor, which has helped you have this good record. But I don't think you have enough to be able to compete in that division, and not only in that division, but in that conference in the AFC. Then you got the Texans. The Texans are a huge surprise this year. This is a team that you had a young quarterback coming in. You drafted Will Anderson as well. I said they're going to be good long term. I thought this year is going to be god awful. Then next year they're going to build. And the year after that they're going to build. And by year 3, year 4, CJ Stroud, they should be able to compete for the playoffs. But they're showing that they want to compete now. but I don't think they have enough roster, enough players, enough playmakers on this team for them to be able to be a threat heading into the postseason time. Not necessarily getting into the postseason, but I don't even think they're going to be in that playoff picture in the hunt, that scenario towards the end of the year. I think they started out great, but it's going to start to fade as the year goes. I think they're going to start playing tougher competition. All right, the Raiders. The Raiders, going into this year, there's a question mark because of Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo plays pretty good. I think he has the weapons in Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, Jacoby Myers, Michael Mayer, the tight end from Notre Dame. I thought he had enough, but Jimmy G is hurt. He got hurt one game, came back, then got hurt again. He's not playing this weekend. So I think that with him being up and down, and now they got a backup quarterback coming in, Devontae Adams not happy with his production. I don't think this team has, and defensively outside of Max Crosby, they don't have any stars. All right, so I think this team has a good record, but it's not. I'm not looking too deep into the record. The Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield. That's all I got to say. I think they have a pretty solid defense. They have weapons on offense, but I think as the season goes, the real Baker Mayfield will show up. All right, I think had a hot start, but I think throughout the year he's going to start making those mistakes that we've seen Baker make in the past. All right, and then they got the Commanders. The Commanders, Eric Bieniemy and his offense don't look bad at all. And the defensive line with Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, they look dominant as well. But because of the division they're in, the conference they're in, I think that there's multiple teams that can get that's ahead of them, that will stay ahead of them. And I think that Sam Howell, still in the development stage of his career, I think he's going to continue to make some mistakes, some crucial mistakes, that's going to cause them to put more losses in the loss column. All right. Next, we got the Falcons. The Falcons, Bijan Robinson's a stud, no doubt. Kyle Pitts is supposed to be a stud, right? Drake London is starting to show some flashes of being a nice number one receiver. But Desmond Ritter, it comes down to the quarterback. I think a lot of this, all of this tier, honestly, the quarterback situation is a little shaky. Except for the Texans. The Texans have a good quarterback. They just don't have enough around them. But everybody else is really come down to quarterback play. And I think the quarterback play will start to dwindle and start to get worse as the season goes. All right. Next, we have the playoff contenders. These are teams that I think will make the playoffs. These are teams that I think will be in the playoff picture. If they don't make the playoffs, they're going to be like a game out or 2 games behind. That makes sense. I have the Rams. The Rams, to me, are another shocker. Them and the Texans are the two biggest slaps in the face this year. I think nobody expected either team to be where they are today. The Rams are one of those teams that you don't want to play in the first round. And I know they're going to be a wild card because the 49ers in their division. So they're not going to win division. They're going to be a wild card team. What team is going to play them? And to me, that's going to determine what happens in that first round, right? They play a really good team. For example, if the Rams are the 7th seed and they play either the Eagles or the 49ers, then okay, they're not going to win the first round. But they play the 3rd seed, the 4th seed, I think they can get a win on the road. Okay, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp are a dominant duo, and Cooper Kupp came back after the first 4 weeks of IR, and he has put his name back on the board as top 3 receiver in the league. And then Puka is still doing his thing. Matthew Stafford looking good, Aaron Donald looking good. This is a scary wild card team, and this is a team that I don't want to play in the first round unless I am the Eagles or the 49ers. So that 3rd and 4th seed should be very scared to play the Rams first round. Next, you got the Seahawks. The Seahawks, to me, are a team that has a lot of talent. I'm talked about them. They do. Offensively, you look at the weapons that Geno Smith has, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, JSN, who is not who we thought he would be yet, but he still got time to develop. Kenneth Walker, great running back, and behind this O line, they are a run first team that can also pass the ball. All right, so this team is good on offense and defensively. Devon Witherspoon, he is a great DB. He's going to be a great DB. First round pick from this past year. I really like him. And then they just are led by Pete Carroll, who is a winning head coach, has won a Super Bowl before. This team will be in the playoffs, I believe. Probably a wild card because the 49ers in the division. The Ravens, I have to respect them just because they're a winning culture. Hands down, no question asked. This year, they haven't showed me anything to be scared of, except for the fact that Lamar Jackson can run the ball. But even this year, when they're implementing more of the passing game, I'm not scared of their passing game at all. I'm not scared of passing attack at all. Outside of Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers, they don't really have anybody that scares me. All right, so if Lamar Jackson can play pitch perfect football, if he can get the completion percentage up, this team is more dangerous. But they still kind of struggle in the passing game. To me, the run game is not as scary. Lamar Jackson's legs is the only thing on this offense that scares me. All right, the Browns defense has shut me up because after Nick Chubb got hurt, I said the team was done. Okay, I said this team was over with. They don't have that focal point on the offense. They don't have the best player on their offense, arguably the best player on their team, right? So when he went down, I was like, okay, they're done because Deshaun Watson is not the same. Deshaun Watson is hurt right now, and they're finding ways to win games. They just beat the 49ers last week. Okay, the 49ers had lost Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, but still, they pulled off a huge win against the 49ers with PJ Walker at quarterback. All right, so they can keep this run game solid and the defense keep playing the way they've been playing. The defense actually is one of the best defenses statistically through the first 6 weeks since like the Minnesota Vikings back when they was the Purple People Eaters, right, with John Randall and all of them. So I think that if they can continue to play great defense, continue to run the ball pretty well, Deshaun Watson comes back and actually just plays half of what he was in Houston, this team can be scary and get in the playoffs. So I think they're going to miss the playoffs, but they're going to be in the playoff picture when it comes that time. The Steelers have one dominant side of the ball, period, point blank. They have one of the best defenses in the league, led by the Defensive Player of the Year and TJ Watt, who has 8 sacks this year, who has a touchdown this year, scoop and score. I think that this defense is going to carry this team to the playoffs. The offense, I can only hope it gets better as the weeks go, right? But the defense is going to continue to help them win games. Period. I can stamp that. I can contest to that because I know I've seen it, and we're going to continue to see it with this relentless pass rush with the playmakers in the secondary and Minka Fitzpatrick and Joey Porter Jr., right? A rookie second round pick last year who is emerging into a number one corner. I think this team defensively, led by Mike Tomlin, is going to get into the playoffs. It might not be pretty. It's going to be a lot of ugly wins, but they're going to get the job done. All right, the Cowboys. They're going to make the playoffs because I think that they are better than most teams in the NFC, but they're not in that elite category. They're in that category under, right? I think of course, I think it's a two-man race with the 49ers and the Eagles, but I think that they fall under them and they're just better than everybody that's below them. All right, so I see them going home divisional round this year. They're going to make the playoffs, though. Dak Prescott just not sold. And I think that 49ers game, he showed us who he really is, right? And this year they're trying to run the ball a lot, but when your defense don't have a good game and teams score against you, Dak Prescott has to throw the ball. He has to. We saw last week Mike McCarthy with 8 seconds left in the first half. He actually did not call a timeout, let the clock go down to kick a field goal, and they was like way past the 50. Most quarterbacks, you're going to let them, okay, take a shot in the end zone. If you don't see nothing, throw it away. He doesn't trust Dak Prescott. Simple as that. So if he doesn't trust Dak Prescott, why should I trust Dak Prescott? Right? Why should the world trust Dak Prescott if their head coach and play caller don't trust them? All right, so it comes down to that at the end of the day. And I just think that they are going to make the playoffs, but as always, second round exit. And at best, second round exit. All right, then the Bengals. The Bengals are a team that is 3-3 right now, I believe, 2-3, 2-3 or 3-3, and I'm still scared of them because of Joe Burrow, because of Jamar Chase, because of T. Higgins, because of Joe Mixon. His offense is elite. The defense to me is not as scary as it was last year with Jesse Bates and Von Bell. Since those two left, I think the secondary is taking a big hit. And I think that they don't have, other than Trey Hendrickson, maybe Logan Wilson, they don't have enough dogs on defense where I'm scared to play them. Right? If I'm playing them, I'm thinking, okay, my offense is gonna have a good day, and I'm praying that my defense can get pressure on Joe Burrow because their whole line is still shaky. Right, so I think that the Bengals are going to make the playoffs because the offense, and I think Joe Burrow is going to only get better as the year goes. Right, but I don't see them going as deep as normal because this team is just not the same to me. And they're going to be taking so much time building up their confidence that when they get there, other teams will already be at their elite or at their best, right? So I think that's going to knock them out pretty early in the playoffs. All right, these teams right here are good, but they're overhyped. The Lions, the Dolphins, and the Jaguars. All right, the Lions are a good team, and I will come up here and I will admit that they are a good team. But this past week, I was hearing people on First Take and Undisputed and First Things First and Speak say that the Lions are in the same conversation as the 49ers and the Eagles. let's slow down. Okay, I understand the Lions are exciting to watch. They're a new team. They're normally used to losing. Now they're winning. It's a great story. Dan Campbell is somebody you love to hear in the press conferences, and he is one of those coaches that you'll run through a brick wall for. Jared Goff playing good, Aiden Hutchinson, but they're not in the same category as the Eagles and the 49ers. Simple as that. I can look at the roster and say that, and I can also look at just how dominant the 49ers and Eagles are, right? The Lions are playing good, but I think that when it gets to the postseason, who do you trust more? Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, or Jared Goff and the Lions, right? I think that's what it's going to come down to. So they're good, but they're not in that category with the 49ers and the Eagles. That's why I say they're good, but they're overhyped at this very moment. The Dolphins are a team that everybody loves to see the speed and the fact they can put up points. They put up 70 against the Broncos, right? They're doing things that we've never seen before, right? They're looking at I think they're leading the league in receiving touchdowns and rushing touchdowns. I think Tyreek leading in receiving touchdowns and Raheem Mostert leading in rushing touchdowns. Some stat like that, some crazy stat. But the Dolphins have beat the Panthers, the Broncos, the Giants, the Chargers, and the Patriots. The Dolphins' opponents altogether are 5-24 that they beat. Okay, then they went against the Buffalo Bills and got beat by 28. All right, so I think they're having a good time. It's all laughing smiles in Miami because they're beating bad teams. They went against a good team in Buffalo, got their brains beat in. Now they're about to go into Philly, and I think they're going to get their brains beat in because defensively they're not that good. But they've played Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, Russell Wilson, um, Justin Herbert, and a shaky Chargers team, and then Mac Jones. They haven't played anybody, right? And then when they did play somebody, they got beat. So I'm not sold on this Miami team. I even came out earlier this year when I was talking to Logan. And I said I'm gonna slow down on the Miami Dolphins because I understand they put up 70. I understand they're putting up big numbers, but look who they're going against. All right, and you're gonna see a real test is coming this Sunday against the Eagles. We're gonna see what happens, and I think the Eagles gonna beat them by a lot. Then the Jaguars. The Jaguars, I'm not impressed. I'm actually disappointed in the Jaguars. I don't claim the Jaguars no more. All right, so Logan, if you listen, I don't claim the Jaguars no more. All right, I thought this year they would come out with Trevor Lawrence. They would air the ball out. They would look unstoppable offensively. They might lose some games because of the defense, but the offense to me looks so game managing. Like Trevor Lawrence is like an elite game manager instead of an elite like this thrower of the ball. I thought he would enter that discussion with the Mahomes and the Aaron Rodgers and the Justin Herberts when it comes to just arm talent, throwing the ball down the field. But they're not. Right? With Calvin Ridley back, he's barely getting targets. Like on Thursday night, Christian Kirk was the leading receiver when it should be Calvin Ridley. All right, I just know they're winning games, right? But offensively, they don't look anything close to what I thought they would look like. I had Trevor Lawrence as an MVP candidate because I thought they would just be able to air the ball out, but clearly they're not. They're just winning games, which is good, but it's not impressive in my opinion. All right, next we got the OGs. All right, these two teams are teams that have been consistently good over the past couple of years. The Chiefs are better than the Bills over the past couple of years, no doubt. The Chiefs have Super Bowl rings. The Chiefs have an MVP quarterback in Mahomes. But both of these teams are showing us what they've been showing us the past couple of years. They're both winning games, point blank period, right? But the Chiefs, to me, are also not that impressive this year. Okay, I understand they just came off a Super Bowl win this year. It just doesn't look right. Something just doesn't look right. I'm gonna keep watching and keep waiting to see what it really is. But outside of Travis Kelsey, Mahomes don't really have a receiver. I think it's going to hurt them when they start playing the elite teams over the next couple of weeks. And then we'll talk about that later. All right. And then the Bills, once again, they beat the brakes off the Miami Dolphins, but then they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know what I'm saying? So they're kind of up and down as well. But both of them have good records. They're both winning the division right now. And I think they will both be at top of the AFC when it comes playoff time. But in the Super Bowl favorites, I think it's going to be between these two teams. Like hands down. Roster wise, these are two of the best teams in the NFL. One team has been dominant and lost a game against the 49ers. One team has been barely getting by and then lost a game against the Jets. All right, the 49ers to me, not worried about it. The game they lost Christian McCaffrey and lost Deebo Samuel. Both their best players got hurt. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts has not been playing good this year. 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's going to improve. He's going to get better. I'm not worried about it. What they need to do is get back to running the ball. run the ball a little bit more. That's going to make the passing game easier. Right now, they're just telling Jalen Hurts to drop back and throw the ball 50 times a game. We don't need that. Let Jalen Hurts kind of not necessarily game manage, but play run first, right? Even get him involved with the run, and then you pass the ball versus just sitting back, dropping back, and throwing the ball. Like they even went and acquired Julio Jones, who is a little past his prime, right? But he's the third receiver on this team behind AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, so that's going to help them. But I don't need them passing the ball so much. All right. But those two teams to me are the Super Bowl favorites, and it's not going to change. All right, even though you lost that game last week, I think the Eagles are going to go and stomp the Miami Dolphins on Sunday Night Football, and I think that the 49ers are going to go stomp the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football, and I think they're going to put themselves back in that scary category of teams you do not want to face in this league. All right, that's it for the NFL tiers throughout the first 6 weeks. Now I'm going to do my week 7 picks. I'm going to make this quick because Logan's not here, so it's going to be a shorter segment. But we still been keeping our picks. We do this pick'em league where we can actually keep track of our picks, like I said, and we've been doing it over the past couple. Even though we haven't done an episode of the Trace to the Point podcast, we have been keeping track of our picks. And as of right now, me and Logan, well, I kind of caught back up to Logan at one point, but then last week I did not have a good week with my picks. So right now, Logan is 68 and 26. I am 61 and 33. All right, so I'm behind Logan by a little bit. There's a little bit of gap. All right, but this week I'm looking to close it because these are my picks. I did pick the Saints Thursday Night Football because Jacksonville just don't look good to me. Even though they have a good record, they just don't look that good. And I thought the Saints at home would be able to get the W, but they didn't. So I am behind on that one. But next we have the Raiders and the Bears on Sunday. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. The Bears, Justin Fields not even playing, and even if Justin Fields was playing, I would still take the Raiders. The Raiders have been winning a couple games over the past couple of weeks, but this is more so of a game of who's worse versus who's better. And who's worse between these two teams? It got to be the Bears. The Bears have not looked good this year. They have one good win, and it was a win where DJ Moore had over 200 receiving yards. It's not going to happen again. If it takes that kind of effort to get a win for this organization, then they're only going to have one win because I don't see that happening again, basically. All right, so I got the Raiders winning that game. Next, we got the Browns and the Colts. No Anthony Richardson, even though I keep saying that, but I think Gardner Minshew is just not good enough to beat some good teams like the Cleveland Browns. I think the Browns defense is going to make it hard on Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew struggled last week against the Jacksonville defense. He threw a couple of interceptions, so I think he's going to struggle more against his Cleveland defense, who's been historically great over the past couple of weeks. So I got Cleveland winning this game in Indy. And then we got the Bills and the Patriots. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. The Bills just a better team from top to bottom. Bill Belichick having one of the worst years of his life, right? And a lot of people are saying that it's ruining his legacy. I disagree. I think it's ruining his general manager legacy, right? He's just not putting together a team that can win. Simple as that. I'm never going to question his X's and O's, but I am questioning who he's putting out there on the field to go and get the job done. So I got the Bills in that game. Next, we got the Commanders and the Giants. Once again, who's worse, right? The Giants are way worse right now. The Giants are pretty hard to watch. I think at home this year they've only scored like 6 points, which to me is god awful. Honestly, it's embarrassing. So I think that I'm going with the Commanders in this game. Once again, who's worse? The Giants. Next, we got the Falcons and the Buccaneers. I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers. Okay, the Falcons are 3-3. The Buccaneers 3-2. I did say the Buccaneers will fall off, but not this week. All right, I think Baker Mayfield has a pretty good week against an Atlanta team that I'm not too sold on, and I think this Buccaneers defense can slow down what this Atlanta Falcons offense has to offer. All right, next we have one of the big games this week. Actually, the Lions and the Baltimore Ravens are. I'm gonna go with the Lions. Okay, I think the Lions, once again, I think they're overhyped just because we put them in the conversation with the Eagles and the 49ers, but they're a good team. They're not in the Eagles and 49ers category, they're right under them. Okay, they're a pretty good team. And the Ravens to me have been winning games at 4-2, but I'm just not impressed. I don't like what I see in terms of can this get you deep into the playoffs, right? I don't see it. And then the Detroit Lions are just red hot right now. So I think that them coming into Baltimore with that momentum, I think that Baltimore is going to struggle putting points on the board. And I think the Lions won't, because the Lions are so physical, and the Lions have weapons in Jameson Williams and Amara St. Brown and Sam Laporta, and Jared Goff been playing at an MVP level this year. So I got to go with the Lions in that game. Next, we got the Rams and the Steelers. I'm going to pick the Steelers on this one. I respect the Rams. I'm, I am scared to play the Rams, but a couple weeks ago, I saw the Rams struggle against the Bengals on Monday Night Football, and the Bengals got relentless pressure on Matthew Stafford. What does the Steelers do? Why do we win games? Because of our pass rushers, and because of the pressure we can put on quarterbacks to make them make mistakes and also get sacks and make it third and long and second and long, etc. So I'm going to take the Steelers on the road in LA. Not going to be a shootout because I don't think our offense is capable of having a shootout, but I think it's going to be one of those ugly wins that we just continue to get pressure on Matthew Stafford. He can't really move, so I think that he is a stationary target that we're going to abuse on Sunday. I do think Cooper Kupp's going to have a big day, because when we don't get there, Cooper Kupp is going to eat us alive. But I think that we can make plays on the defensive side that can help us win this game. And their defense is not great to where our offense should struggle that much. All right. Next, we got the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Cardinals just, like I said, roster wise, they're just not a good team. The coach, I believe in them because they play hard every week. Every week they play hard. Every week they kind of they compete every single week, but they just don't have enough players to win games. Next we have the Packers and the Broncos. I'm gonna go with the Broncos actually at home. I'm not sold on Jordan Love. I'm just not, and I know I said it's been a roller coaster up and down. It's been inconsistent play, but in this game, the Broncos season's on the line, right? Um, I think they're done. But if they do have any chance of coming back into the season and winning games, I think they have to win this week. So I'm gonna go with the Broncos and the upset at home against a Packers team that I really just don't have a lot of faith in. All right, the Chargers and the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs. The Chargers, they defensively are bad. They're one of the worst pass defenses in the league. And what does the Chiefs do? They pass the ball. I understand the Chiefs have been struggling through with the pass game, but this is one of them games where they can kind of get right. Okay, because the Chargers defense to me is just, it's not good. Joey Bosa is supposed to be that playmaker on defense. He doesn't make any plays. All right, Khalil Mack is their best pass rusher, and Khalil Mack is past his prime. Joey Bosa like 27, 28. He's supposed to be in his prime, and he's just not making plays. So I got to go with the Chiefs on this one. Miami Dolphins and the Eagles. I'm taking the Eagles by 20. Okay, let me tell you why. After last week, it's been question marks on Jalen Hurts. Y'all, Jalen Hurts had one good year, no doubt about it. But I saw him in the Super Bowl go toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes. I saw it. Y'all saw it too. Quarterbacks just don't do that. You know what I'm saying? They don't just wake up and do that. That it takes special players to do that, because Mahomes, some people look at him as the best quarterback to ever play the game. He outplayed Mahomes on the biggest stage of them all. So he is a great quarterback, and I don't care how poorly he's been playing throughout these first couple of weeks. They're 5-1 because they're finding ways to win even when he's playing bad. So imagine when he plays good. And this Miami defense is not that good. So I think this is his get right game. This is his game where he shuts up all the critics and he lets everybody know that, look, we just went to the Super Bowl last year. I was a fumble away. Not even that. We, as a team, we was a flag away from possibly winning that game. All right, so I think this is a great game for the Eagles to win, because Miami has all the hype. Miami has all eyes on them. Everybody loves Miami, but the Eagles have a chance at home to go and blow them out and make sure everybody knows that we are still that team in the NFC. They're still the team that I picked to go to the Super Bowl. All right, so I got the Eagles by 20. You can, anybody want to bet that? Hit me up. Eagles by 20 on Sunday Night Football. And then next we got the 49ers and the Vikings. Easy, 49ers. 49ers got beat by PJ Walker and the Cleveland Browns. Kind of like the Eagles. This is the game where they can bounce back and let everybody know, hey, quit putting the Lions in the same conversation as us. All right, quit saying that we have issues. Quit saying that Brock Purdy is a problem. Stop it. Okay, Brock Purdy's been good all throughout this year until last week when he lost two of his best. If any team loses two of their best offensive players, they're going to lose the game. That's any team. Write it down. Any team in the league: Ravens, Steelers, Rams, Cardinals, any team. I don't care if they lose their best two players. Look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs lost two of their best players in the first game of the year, lost in the Lions. All right, if you lose two of your best offensive players, 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose that game. And they still almost won, but they lost because of a missed field goal by Jake Moody. All right, so I got the 49ers over the Vikings. All right, that is it for today's episode. To a short and sweet, 34 minutes, y'all. My bad. But that is it for today. I'm going to be back next week. I'm back for real now. I've been out a couple of weeks. Like I said, 1 week I wasn't feeling too well. Then the next week, and then Logan hasn't been available as well. And then the next week I just kind of had to focus on school for a little bit. So I am back, all right, and I'll be back with some good. And NBA is starting on Tuesday. All right, so for those of y'all that follow me on Instagram, I'm gonna also do a short on here of my top 10 players in the NBA heading into the season, and then I'm gonna start putting the NFL and the NBA all in one episode. And I also have some news coming soon about something that I'm working on, some project that I'm doing. Y'all stay tuned for that. But Jay Best is back. All right, I had a 2 week hiatus, but now I'm back and I ain't going nowhere no time soon. All right. But as always, man, y'all stay blessed. Y'all have a good weekend. Be safe. All right. Make sure y'all enjoy football. And then I'll see y'all next week. All right. I'm out.